Hello and welcome back to the Eyes of Old Gaming channel. Thank you for checking out this video. Today I have a new review showcase for you. This one is a little bit different than my typical older game reviews. For this review we are taking a look at an add-on expansion rather than a full release game. I will still follow the same similar format as my usual reviews, avoiding spoilers as much as possible and trying to remain objective throughout the first portion of the video. As usual, I'm not going to give a number rating. For example, 3 stars or 8 out of 10 or something like that, as I find all of this style of rating completely arbitrary when looking at a subjective product like video games. This way you can make up your own mind as to whether or not this is worth it for you to pick up for yourself. Stay on until the final part of the video to hear my own opinion of the game, if I enjoyed it personally, and if I would recommend picking it up. The main difference from full reviews is that I will leave out a few things such as game comparisons, as this will be covered in the main game review. Once the full game video is uploaded, I will make sure there are links in the description or on the screen depending on where you're watching this. With that out of the way, let's move on to the review. Do you love cheesy campy zombie movies? Ever wish you could play through the video game version of one? Luckily for you, this game exists as an add-on DLC pack for Far Cry 5. Dead Living Zombies is the final of the 3 episodic DLC add-ons which were released back in 2018. Being developed by Ubisoft Montreal and published by Ubisoft. Even though this is simply an expansion to the main Far Cry 5 game, I've decided to do a, as much as possible, spoiler-free review or showcase of the DLC to see how it's held up and if it is still worth picking up for a first-time player, and more importantly, if this one is worth it for you. As I mentioned, this is a DLC for Far Cry 5, and this time we are going full into the zombie movie cheese fest with this one. Essentially, the game is set up as mini storylines which you play through, each one being established as its own zombie movie. As such, each will play out a little different, with different objectives to complete as you play through. The movies themselves are pitches being made by Guy Marvel to different directors, with the intention of selling his ideas to them. This setup is interesting as the game world and objectives can be changed during play as Marvel or the director being pitched to may interject with new ideas. This keeps each episode feeling dynamic and varied as you shoot through hordes of zombies thrown at you.
It's a foggy night, and
Make it a clear night. The lens flares will look much better.
yeah, I love it! Your cinematic signature is gonna be all over this!
The game still handles mostly like Far Cry 5, however, of each of the DLC add-ons, I felt this one deviated the most from the standard Far Cry game experience. Not only is stealth not encouraged, you'll almost certainly die if you attempt it, which is a huge change from every other Far Cry I have played previously. The zombies themselves feel the most like movie zombies from different zombie games I've played. In this I mean they are pretty tough, but headshots will take them down. The games themselves are not very difficult as long as you go for the head, and you can bring a friend in co-op to help even the odds. Personally, I played through all the episodes in solo and didn't find any real trouble spots within. Graphics again are very similar to the Far Cry 5 base game graphics, however obviously now with a horror and zombie aesthetic. Most episodes are going to take place at night and have very fitting environments for the genre, for example farmhouses, secret government installations, or apocalyptic city locations. These are all done very well and hold up to today's standards quite nicely. And the zombies themselves have a great look, though there is some limitation in the variation. Because each episode is so short though, this does not become a problem or feel repetitive. So really, in terms of unique features, the most unique aspect will be the setup and style with which you play through the episodes. It is a major change from standard open world style Far Cry games, as this is completely on the rails and set to be very specific missions. Rather than the typical focus on exploration and finding collectibles in an open world map like a standard Far Cry game, you play through a heavily scripted and completely narrated mission-based experience. I did notice some audio bugs while playing through, which were actually more numerous than a typical Far Cry polished experience. However, this did not really take away from the game too much. Mostly it was just some skipping or jumping in the narration, and was not game-breaking in any way. The other unique feature to talk about in this title is that it is a run and gun style game. Though not unique in general gameplay sense, it is unique for a Far Cry game, and I feel it's worth mentioning here if you're coming in with some experience with the franchise. So now that we've looked at some of the features of the game, we reach the point of my review where I give a more subjective look at my personal experience with it. Please keep in mind that the following is just my opinion of the game, and if the features and genre seem interesting to you, you should definitely check it out for yourself, as not all games are for all gamers. The game that you hate might be the next gamer's all-time favorite, which is one of the things that I love about gaming. There's always something for someone out there. So did I enjoy this add-on DLC, and would I recommend it? It was alright. Definitely the weakest of all the DLC add-ons in my opinion. The episodes were neat and seemed very similar to something like a Left 4 Dead, in that it was broken into segments that were made to be more like you were playing through different movies. This one leans much heavier into the movie concept than Left 4 Dead, as you will have the near constant narration of what's going on from Marvel, which will be an ever-present mechanic which breaks, or maybe more accurately cracks, the fourth wall, reminding you that you're in a game, rather than taking the Left 4 Dead approach, which actually immerses you during the gameplay itself. When I say this one cracks rather than breaks the fourth wall, I mean that although it does break the game immersion, it stays within the fantasy of being a movie pitch and doesn't speak directly to the player. The biggest issues that I have with this particular DLC is that each episode is very short, and although there are 7 different movies to play through, I still managed to complete this one much faster than the previous 2 DLCs. Honestly, I would rather have played through an open world zombie Far Cry game, but I respect their attempt to try something different. Aside from being short, I found the story to be alright and the gameplay to be okay, making this one somewhat mediocre all around in my opinion. Personally, if you're going for the Season Pass, which gets you all the DLC, that would probably be the best way to get this one, as although it can be entertaining, I didn't really find it to be that worth it on its own. So I hope you enjoyed this look at Far Cry 5's add-on Dead Living Zombies. Have you played through this DLC already? What were your thoughts on it, and did you agree or disagree with my opinion? I'd love to hear your takes on this down in the comments. Please also consider giving me a like on the video if you found this entertaining or informative at all. I also really do appreciate if you consider subscribing to the channel. I upload a variety of gaming content and would be thrilled to have you join the community and help direct the future of the channel. Otherwise, thank you so much for taking the time to watch today, and until next time, take care.